I don't really need my glasses.
Can you see me okay?
Yeah. I didn't go to an optician for 27 years. Kept getting on wrong trains because I couldn't read the thing. And I thought, I better go. And then and they went, yeah, definitely need glasses, mate.
Yeah, I love the confidence you get on the train, not really sure. Yeah, I'll do.
I was on a Eurostar once going to Paris, and I got into this whole hoo-ha with this guy who was like, you're in my seat. I was like, I'm not on your seat, mate. Look, we went on for ages. And then I got my ticket out and went, look. And he went, yeah, this is going to Belgium. Went, oh, right. Okay.
No.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's just joking.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. Go on.
This is Human Alchemy with Ross Neal.
Hello and welcome back to Human Alchemy. Today's guest is a man named Jonnie Fielding. Now, Jonnie gives walking tours in London and has amassed a following over 200,000 followers online. Now, if you usually listen to these episodes and you're interested in your performance, you may be thinking, walking tours, that's not what I'm quite looking for here. Well, hold your horses, because I have been on two of Jonnie's walks myself, and I have to say, it's very impressive what Jonnie does. Jonnie does hundreds of walking tours every year. I think in the region of 500, he says, and you'll find out later. But every single time, no matter how Jonnie feels, no matter who's in the group, no matter how bad the weather is, Jonnie has to turn up for 2-3 hours and deliver high energy, remember everyone's names, remember the facts, navigate the streets of London, and he does it incredibly well. Not only that, Jonnie's social media following only really came about in the last 2 years. Before that, he had 10 years of turning up with no one really there, sometimes small groups, sometimes big groups. Sometimes it would cost him more to get the bus to the walk than what he would make on the walk itself. And he also came to this idea of walking tours a little bit later in his life after a bit of an epiphany, which again, he'll describe. But he managed to find something he intrinsically loves to do, make money out of it, and do it every single day. And Jonnie will talk about the jobs he sort of did before and how he finally made the decision to move into something like doing walking tours. But I honestly think it's one of the most interesting performance stories I've found so far. And in terms of human alchemy, he definitely went from one point to another in a really incredible way. So again, don't want to talk too much. Let me put you over to Jonnie Fielding. Jonnie Fielding, Bowl of Chalk, welcome.
Thanks, Ross.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And it's a very apt day for it as well, because we are in the midst of a tube strike. So we've both done our own walk through London today, me from Waterloo and you from London Bridge.
Yeah. It's not that far.
Not too bad.
So I like walking around anyway.
You do indeed.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. I think, as we've already spoken about, the theme of this podcast is around performance and how people become something from something ordinary, something astonishing. And I think when I came on one of your walks a while ago, I was quite amazed. I've done 2, I think. But I was quite amazed at the level of, firstly, attention to detail. You managed to remember everyone's names. You spend time with everyone. The information around it is quite impressive. And how many of them do you reckon you do a year?
Maybe 500 or something. I don't know. Yeah,
it's a lot, and it's quite an impressive feat. And we will come into that side of performance. But I think it would be great to start if you give me a little bit of background as to, who is Bowl of Chalk.
Wow. So I've been doing walks now it's coming up to 15 years, but I strangely, for a tour guide, hated both London and history, which is interesting, segue in. I've had lots of different lives. I have no connection with London whatsoever. I have no family members from London. I was asked to leave university where I was studying fine art, which is amazing to be asked to leave that because you don't do anything really. Yeah. I think that's the thing I pointed out to them. And I moved to London to work in the film industry. So I worked in the film industry for quite a number of years, and I was a sort of runner around Soho. And then I started writing and directing plays, and then off the back of that, I did some writing for TV and film. And then I realised that I didn't like everyone very much.
Oh, really?
So I left that, and then I did loads of rubbishy jobs. And then I bumped into a guy who had a sort of advertising marketing agency who'd seen a play that I'd done. And he went, "You're the guy who's done that play. What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing Rubbish Jobs." And he said, this was on a Thursday. He said, "Come and work for me on Monday and you can become a copywriter and I'll pay you more than they're paying you doing Rubbish Jobs, but less than I would a copywriter."
Right.
And I didn't even know what a copywriter was. I had no idea. So I then spent 7 years selling things to people that nobody needs.
Really?
And then I did work for another company. And then I was asked to leave that due to a lack of interest and enthusiasm. And I applied to become a tour guide, which obviously, as established, I hated London at the time. I'd been here for 10 years. I knew nothing about it. And I really dislike history. I'd say dislikes is probably a bit harsh. I didn't function massively well academically at school and didn't have a great history teacher.
Right.
Who didn't like children.
That's not ideal, is it?
No. And I think I've always been someone that if I have to actually do something, I just have zero interest in it. But if I'm interested in it, I will do it. But I have to do it in my own way. And I don't want to have to do an exam. And I became, and the company I worked for originally as a tour guide gave me a woeful amount of information. So I had to learn it myself if I wanted to do it. Because they literally like, "Oh, here's a sheet of paper with some notes. Learn that. And then go and entertain these people for 5 hours or 4 hours or whatever." It's appalling, really. So I did it all myself and I loved it. And I just started exploring and I cycled a lot and I would start taking different routes and looking at buildings and going different ways and doing it through curiosity. So I wouldn't ever say I'm a historian, but I think I might have invented the word curistorian.
Okay, I like that. You're a historian.
You're a historian, yeah. So, and then, after, a year and a half, I think, of doing this, the company folded and I was back looking for jobs. And then I had a sort of mild epiphany one night, literally kind of woke up, couldn't stop. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to be a tour guide. This is what I actually really enjoy it. And
really?
Someone said to me, this is what I'd be doing like 15, 20 years ago. I would have thought they were having a joke. For someone who hated history in London, it's quite odd.
Yeah, I have to say, that does surprise me.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be someone who's always loved history.
No, not at all.
With that, because the effect you kind of described there, I think Daniel Pink calls it the Sawyer effect. And it's based on, I think, Tom Sawyer in Mark Twain's books. He's like,
I thought you meant like soybeans.
No, it's like Sawyer. Yeah, he's painting a fence and he convinces everyone that it's this amazing thing to do, and they all start doing it because it's a great thing to do. But the second you call it a job, it's no longer enjoyable. Which sounds like
I never heard of that. Yeah.
The opposite effect for you there. But take me through that epiphany then. So you were doing
it's just like, this is what I just suddenly realised that I was applying for the jobs that I had done before, that, copywriting stuff that I didn't really knew, my heart wasn't in it. And then I was just like, I actually really liked it. So surely I can just do this. Why do I need to work for a company or whatever? And there were also things with the company that I worked for, the way that they did the tours, that I had to do them. So you had to do certain things. You had to take a cab ride with some people. You had to visit a particular museum. Everything was right. And it was just like, it actually doesn't quite work. And then I was just like, and then I'm also being forced to talk about things that I'm not that interested in. And it made me realize that I can only really do things if I'm interested in it. And so I thought, well, if I do tours, I'm literally just going to tell people stuff that I like.
Yeah.
And they will have to like it as well. And the weird thing is, so I set up a website really quickly just on my own, using a build your own website thing. This was about 2011. I'm sure there was some kind of social media. I haven't looked into what was around in 2011, but I certainly wasn't on it or doing anything. And I made posters. And the interesting thing is that I didn't actually tell anyone what we were going to talk about on my walk. I drew a picture.
Oh.
So I drew a map of, not far from here actually, around Old Street in East London. And I drew a picture with lots of little things happening and stuff going on. And then I wrote on it, who wants to come on a walk that looks like this? And I put them in shops around this area. One was in a bike shop. I don't think it exists. Look, Mum, no hands.
Oh, really?
On Old Street, yeah. And they let me put it in their door, on their window.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, I got an email and 3 people had seen it. And they said, can we come on a walk? I was like, cool. So I went and met them outside Moorfields Eye Hospital. And the first thing that they said was, how long have you been doing this for? And I went, ooh, a couple of seconds now. and they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, you literally are the first people. And then they told other people, and it was proper old school word of
Really?
mouth for 10 years. And it started off as London word of mouth, and then it became UK word of mouth, and then it became international word of mouth, which was quite amazing. And people talk about all these marketing things, but it is actually just true. It works. And I'd make a point of me when I met people, asking them how they'd found out about me. And there's one that particularly sticks in my mind, which was I asked this woman on a walk, and she said, yes, I was in a bar mitzvah in Israel. And I was just like, oh yeah. Or at a bar mitzvah in Israel, and I was sitting with a family or a couple from Canada. She wasn't from Canada, she was from America, I think. And we were chatting, and I happened to say, oh, next year I'm coming to London. And they went, oh, you've got to meet Jonnie. We'll give you his... And that's how it went. You got to meet this guy. There was another guy who was telling me he was having a sort of Zoom meeting with some business somewhere in North America. I think he was in North America, and happened to mention to some guy he didn't even know that he'd be going to London at some point. And he said in the middle of this meeting, this guy went, oh, hang on, I've got to get you this guy Jonnie's email address. You've got to meet him. So that's kind of how it went.
I think it is. It's one of those things that it's a really, if you believe in someone being really good, it's quite an enjoyable thing to go, you must do this thing that I've done. It's great. It's a real vote of confidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, you said there as well, you started in 2011. This is when that first walk happened. A lot of people who may be listening may have come across you for the first time on social media as Bowl of Chalk. I think I embarrassingly asked you, what is Bowl of Chalk on the first one? I had no idea that it was Cockney rhyming.
Well, the interesting thing about the Cockney rhyme, I'm not obviously a Cockney. And when I was looking for a name, everyone is called London Walks, walking tours in London. Let's go on a walk. It all involves London. And I like to make my life more difficult. Yeah. And obviously in terms of SEO, it's just a nightmare. And I thought Cockney rhyming slang. And I don't think I even really knew it. And I looked it up, and there were three. So there's Ball of Chalk, which is the main one. And then there's always offshoots that have, changed as time goes on. And then there's Bowl of Chalk. And there was something called Pennyforth of Chalk. I don't know what that is. And in my head, I'm quite visual. I could imagine a bowl with chalk in it, and I could see it I drew my logo originally with a bowl for the O with chalk in.
Oh, really?
And I made, everything was like handmade. And, so I just went with Bowl of Chalk, and then ever since I've had Cockneys every couple of months writing to me.
Oh, really?
I get these emails going, my nan never says Bowl of Chalk, you loser. Yeah.
So that's one thing with social media, isn't it?
Yeah.
It does attract all criticism as well.
Oh, yeah.
What I also love about that is when I've reached out to you over email, your emails come in as Bowl.
Oh, do they?
It's just your first name, just said Bowl.
Mr.
Email
Bowl.
From Bowl. I love that.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. But talk me through that, because you did, I imagine, so I went back, it was January 2023, when you first posted a reel as on Instagram is where a lot of people may know you from. And I think you've amassed 200,000 followers on there.
Yeah.
Doing fun London facts and other such things. But there was 10 years before that where you were just doing walks. And do you mind if I asked, was it fruitful?
No, not at all. I carried on doing copywriting because it was something I could do freelance. So I did that during the week for various different things. And I only did walks on weekends because that's when Londoners were available.
Yeah.
And Londoners were my core people. I mean, the amazing thing is as well, it's a nightmare trying to get people from London to explore their own city. Yeah. So I would go to markets and hand out flyers. And I was living in London Fields at the time. So I go to Broadway Market. And I'd make flyers and hand them out. And people go, oh, what's this? And I go, I do walking tours. Do you want to come? And they went, why the hell would I come on a walking tour in London? I live here. But they would go to Amsterdam or Berlin and they'd do one. And they would know more about that city than their own city. Yeah. It's this weird thing, which actually, amazingly, because of social media and the people I meet now, has changed, I think, a little bit. Anyway, what was the question? I forgot what we wrote.
No, I said, was it fruitful?
Oh, yeah, no, not at all. So I just did it. I just ploughed on. And I did Pay What You Want walks, and I'm not a hippie, but it would even out. So some people would give you far more than if you ever had a set ticket price, and other people didn't. And actually, the people who often didn't pay me were my own mates.
Oh, really?
Go, oh, we'll sort you out. Oh, sorry, haven't. Oh, we'll do
Grab you a
it.
beer.
Yeah, do it when we see you. But then also, there were a couple of reasons why I did that. One is that I didn't know how to set up any kind of payment thing on my website, and two, I drew a map. I drew a picture and didn't tell anyone what I was telling them. So I needed people to take a punt on doing something.
Yeah.
And so by doing pay what you want, you're kind of like, people might be willing to risk a few hours of their time if it's not going to cost them. And I would say, if you don't like it, just don't give me anything. It's fine. And and I would, for quite a long time, I've always been a bit of a cyclist anyway, and it was obviously a way of exploring, but I literally had to cycle because taking trains and public transport, I would lose money. I was earning so little that I would lose money if I didn't cycle everywhere.
Really?
But then I would do things like I would start a walk at, I don't know, Monument. No, I'd be finishing the end of the day in Monument. So I'd park my bike at Monument. Then I would walk to Trafalgar Square. And then the people who were supposed to come never turned up because it was pay what you want. And they'd never thought to tell me that they weren't coming. Or it was it's like that. That happened a lot. But then on the other hand, it never... I was basically very much, even if it's one person, I am offering this thing and I will do it. And I just think it's really, for me, it felt, I didn't mind if it wasn't a massive group, but actually having a connection with just one person or introducing someone to things that they might not know and find enjoyable overrode everything else.
Yeah.
It was quite weird. I just was like, I just really want to do it. And yeah.
Which is, I do think it's rare to find that sort of thing nowadays as well, where there is that I just love doing this.
Mm.
And now you have a slightly different problem where people complain that there are too many people on the walks.
Yeah.
Which must be something you look back and go, well, this is a real luxury.
Yeah, it is a funny one. I cap it, it's not always, but I cap it about 20, which is a big group. But I also try and make a point, well, you've been on a walk, so you can tell me if it's successful or not, I realise that when you sort of scale up, you lose the personalness of it, the interaction of just wandering around. Yeah. And the amount of reviews that I would get where people would say, it doesn't feel like I was on a tour, it felt like I was walking with a friend and this is someone I never even met, who happened to know a lot about London. And I thought, well, that is something that I think is really important, and I don't want to lose it and then people not enjoy the experience as much. So I tried to, it's harder and I have to work really hard at it, but I try and include everyone. Some people don't want to be included. Some people like standing at the back and not saying anything. But and actually, in a weird way, I don't have a script. I don't regurgitate things, and I feed in a way off the people who are there, and we go off at tangents, or they will ask me something, or something will happen, or someone will say, oh, actually, one of my ancestors grew up down. Oh, let's go and have a look down there, So that is very important to me, the actual people who were there, and that then affects the walk.
Yeah, it does feel, for anyone listening who's thinking about going on a walk, it does feel like every one is slightly different to the other ones, because you kind of play it by, actually, you know what, we will go here. We wouldn't, but usually, I think on R1 on Fleet Street, which is famously like a printing area, we actually had someone whose dad worked there for maybe 40 years or something. So she had some interesting facts.
Which is also why I like meeting those. I like meeting people who can add something, who tell me. And this is the thing that I find interesting, is that I'm talking about buildings and streets and historical characters that have been recorded, or, I've read about, or they're in books, or it's there, it's information that's there. That actually the thing I find really, really interesting is that cities are very personal to people, and no one will ever know that story. Yeah. So I've been with people. I was with a guy actually and his parents, and we walked past a bench near St. Paul's Cathedral, and his parents were like nudging, go, this is where they proposed. He had proposed to his wife at this bench, and the son didn't even know anything about it. He'd never heard this before. So for them, that is a really important place. Or there was another one I remember. So obviously the Tate Modern was a power station, and I met a couple and they were with their daughter who was in their 30s, and they were kind of, as we were talking about I was talking about the Bankside Power Station, there was a bit of nudging going on. I said, "Oh, what is it? What is it?" And they had their first ever date at the Power Station Friday night disco, which is long gone. So I kind of like that. It's very these personal stories as well that people tell me.
Well, we spoke about before. One of my questions was, does it ever get boring? You do 500 a year, often in the same places, and is that what makes it less boring? Is the fact that it's not the same walk because there's new people.
Yeah.
The same, you never step in the same river twice. It's always never the same group twice.
Yeah. I do often, the private walks during the week are a little bit different because some of those are sort of tailor-made, or I might meet people at a hotel and we might do something slightly different, or they're studying, kids are studying something or whatever. But there are some specific ones. But I do obviously treading a lot of the same stuff. But this is for me, for someone who has historically chopped and changed lots of things over the years and got very, or boredom or whatever, I don't know, like having to move on. It seems to have ticked lots of boxes that I didn't know needed ticking. And I think and I surprised myself that I still get a huge amount of enjoyment from telling people stuff. But also just seeing, when I'm talking to them, just seeing little sparks go, oh yeah, oh that's what, really? oh yeah, I never thought of that. Or I walked past, I've had people who I met, I remember there's three couples who were all probably in their 70s, St. Paul's Cathedral, we were doing around the city. One of the guys said, oh, I've worked on Gresham Street for 45 years. I still go there 2 days a month or something. Oh, really? And I was just like, oh no, he's going to know it. He didn't know anything. And he literally was like, how have I never seen that? Yeah. Why did I never go through here? It's quite interesting.
I think I sent this in email to you, but there is a element of 500 walks a year. The amount of people that will now walk through London with a slightly different appreciation for what they're walking through is quite cool.
Yeah. And I think the videos the people have come on my walks. So in terms of the videos, I'd never had any. I had sort of social media accounts, but I was utterly, I think you've talked about this in terms of the podcast thing, being late to the party or whatever. Yeah. I was utterly reactive, and it was generally because people came on walks with me, and I was just like Mr. Make a post a word of mouth kind of guy, and they go, oh, have you heard about this Twitter thing? Have you heard about, you should have a thing on Facebook, oh, you should do Instagram. And I go, oh yeah. And then I'd set one up, and then maybe once a month post a picture or something. I did really half-heartedly.
Passively, yeah.
Yeah. And and the interesting thing was that I'd always done, I'd loved doing the walks, but my main thing was writing, and I'd always do lots of writing, and I approached it like a business. And then it got to 2023, and I'd lost all my business because of COVID, and I was literally on the cusp of maybe having to do something else or thinking. And I went, well, this is my business. I'm the only one who can do something about it. No one else is going to do it,
save you,
and I need to do something. And I sat down and had a little think, and why is this person busier? Why is this person busier? And I think I set a whole day aside to work it out. It took me 10 seconds. Like, oh yeah, they're posting on social media.
Yeah.
And they're doing video. And no, actually, no, I don't think I'd really got into videos for about another week and a bit. I thought, so I had this idea of posting a fun fact every day. And then I discovered TikTok and saw people making videos. I thought, I'll give that a go. And then that was it. And then I obviously posted them on Instagram, and I made a massive rod for my back doing one every day.
Really?
It was good. But and I went from, I think, maybe 400 followers that I'd had for a few years to 170,000 in a year.
In a year?
Yeah.
170,000. Were you surprised by that success?
Yeah. I mean, when I started it, I didn't know anything about social media. I didn't know how it works. I didn't really know, and I was probably doing it for my own benefit. So I felt I was doing something to try and make myself not feel so rubbish that my business had gone down the pan.
Yeah,
and that was my main impetus. But I mean, obviously, there's always a bit of you hoping that something will catch or whatever. And it took a long time. It took me, well, not a long time. It took like 6 months, I think, before it properly kicked in.
Yeah.
And actually, over those 6 months, my style completely changed, and the way I made the videos, and they became a bit longer. And I'd imposed these rules for some reason. I don't know why, arbitrarily, that they had to be 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Like a minimum 30
Yeah.
seconds.
No, maximum 30 seconds.
Oh, really?
So I was going, and then people would go, well, come on, walk. And go, but you don't talk like that. So I can't even hear what you're saying. It's so quick. So, and then I was like, why do I do that? Because sometimes if I get a little bit excited, I talk quite quickly, but I don't. And so then I thought, what am I doing? I could do like a minute and a half and just take my time. And then I suddenly hit this groove, I think. And also, I think that a lot of people sort of pointed out, and the way that I do them, I do them like I talk to people. I don't have a script either for those.
Yeah.
And people have said it comes across, you keep in your ums and your, oh, actually, no, I didn't mean that. And so rather than editing it, and they said one of the things that drew us to it was that it seemed very genuine.
Yeah. So that authenticity seems to be the currency nowadays.
Is it?
Yeah, authenticity.
I accidentally became authentic. Well, no, I was authentic. So then
you are authentic. I think that's one thing when you meet you don't feel like there's a front. You don't feel like it's a show. You feel like this is a person who likes doing this and likes meeting people and has a passion. Well, I did think you had a passion for history in London. Do you have one now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't.
Yeah.
No, it was before I started, so I didn't. Then I got the job as a tour guide, which is unusual for someone who doesn't like history. And then I had to learn it and I loved it. And It opened up the city and I was deeply unhappy at the time.
Yeah.
And suddenly I enjoyed living here and it made sense.
That's amazing.
And I never stopped. And without meaning to sound massively melodramatic, I was in a really probably quite dark place, and it almost, I would say, it saved me in a way.
Really?
Just literally just this thing of learning stuff and having a purpose and getting up and exploring. And as someone who loves detail and things and noticing things, and why is that there?
Yeah.
And then going into somewhere and asking them, and they go, I don't know, I never saw that. And then they come out of their shop and go, oh yeah, what is that? Or they might know, or I got chucked out of numerous buildings I shouldn't have been in because I was wandering around private members clubs and banks and things, and the security would escort me out. But it was that for me was and it's never stopped, and I don't imagine it ever will. For London, it's just never ending.
Well, that was a question that right before the podcast we were speaking about how people that do things for the love of it, because of intrinsic motivation, once they start receiving extrinsic rewards, money, fame, whatever you want to call it, over time, intrinsic motivation goes down and you lose the love by the end. It happened for me in rugby, and there are a lot of studies on it. And I was asking you, has that happened for you? And then we decided to pause it because we thought that you should probably save this for the episode. Yeah. So I think you may have answered, but has it?
No, not at all. But then also I think there's an element, maybe, and maybe I'm wrong with what you're talking about, is that you have in your head what success is before, or what it should be like, and then or where a position that you should be at. If you see, so maybe in your rugby, I should get to this, and then when you get there, you're like, oh, actually.
Well, I actually had a weird moment when this one is not about me, but I'll give you a quick one.
Go for it.
So when I first played in the Premiership, and when I was younger, that was always the dream, was to play in the Premiership. And I finally did it for a team called Wasps that I was at. And I know you're a big rugby fan.
Yeah, I am now.
And I played in the game, played a few games. It was my best period of my career. And I remember thinking as I got there, is this it? Like, is this the thing I was dreaming about? It's kind of not changed anything for me here. And I went, maybe I don't want what I wanted when I was 7 years old anymore. And over time, and that's when I wanted to start going traveling and doing other things. I moved to America and played out there. Kind of, for me, that was almost my epiphany. And now what I do now, I really enjoy a lot more than I used to enjoy rugby, which shouldn't be that way, which is strange.
I think that for me, maybe I think the different, the things that when I was a kid. So maybe also I had a sort of dream, rugby dream, and my one was when I was quite young. Going, hang on, I don't know if this is actually it. This is what I enjoy. This is really intense, and I actually don't have a huge amount in common with a lot of people I'm hanging around with. Obviously, not all rugby players, us. Or then I did a lot of music, or then also I wanted to write for film and stuff, and I did a bit of that. But then there's always something that doesn't quite sit. And I think maybe with the walks, I've never had a thing, this is where I want to be. It's just something that I enjoy.
Pure pleasure and passion, yeah.
And I don't have a lofty goal. I'm literally happy that I can do something and I can exist doing something that I enjoy and brings enjoyment to other people. And I don't think anything beyond that. And I think the fact that I don't have any lofty goals for it is a blessing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, but people do. So other tour guides that I know, not always, but they will often start as one person, and then their whole thing is to expand with more guides, and then you're basically making money without doing anything because there's lots of other people doing stuff at the same time.
Yeah,
and I have never had any interest in that. I think one is then you'll become a manager. You're managing people, which I don't want to do, and two, my walks, and I'm not, not that this is different maybe from other people, are incredibly idiosyncratic. And it's based on me and my own personality and things I've learned over 15 years. And I don't think I could teach someone. So if I did employ someone, they would have to be utterly different and have a different niche.
And they may end up like you were when you were doing the walks, where you're like, that's not how I'd do it.
Yeah.
And they'd be then forced into, so they would do their own walks.
Yeah.
But
under an umbrella.
Under the chalk umbrella.
Yeah.
Guys, I just want to touch on that performance side of it. You told me, so for clarity, for anyone listening, Jonnie has a very good knack of remembering everyone's names when they arrive. And everyone's kind of looks around like, how do you remember all of our names in about 10 seconds? You've already told me you don't remember them the night before. You genuinely have a very good memory for them. But then on the walks, you spend time with everyone, even people like me and my brothers who are desperate to let you know what we know, which must be very annoying, I'm sure. But you make everyone feel, like you say, like they're your friend. But to do that, 500 walks a year, from a performance point of view, is, I think, incredibly impressive. And I'm sure not every day are you thrilled about it. Maybe it's raining, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Can you just give me a little bit of insight as to that performance element of it? And sorry for putting this performance tag on something that's quite pure. But...
No, but in a way, the interesting thing is it is a performance, even if I don't really ever think of it like that. I've had quite a lot of my mates come on walks and they're fascinated. They've said to me, we're just really intrigued to see how you are, because we know you personally when you're talking to 20 people and you're doing a walk, and they're like, the weird thing is that you're just exactly the same, really, but you're just, and you kind of go off at tangents. You do, everything's exactly the same, but you manage to kind of keep it all together. The other thing that I would know, I have had people, and sometimes I do massive groups, even bigger than this, or school trips. You got 40 kids. And I've had people say, you're such an extrovert. It's unbelievable. Now, the weird thing is that I would say I'm a massive introvert.
Right.
And she probably won't like me saying this, but my girlfriend she doesn't like me saying she tells me off, but I have been told off for not talking to people at events, parties. I'm really bad at like one-to-one. Mingling, small talk, making chit chat with people, and I don't make effort. On one hand, I do spend a lot of my time talking to people and making a huge amount of effort. So sometimes if I go to those things, I might have done it all day and I'm just like, wow, I'm all talked out. But actually it's very weirdly unnatural. But when I am in that walking tour moment, it's like a switch goes and I kick in, because also there's an element of me going, if I don't, this whole thing's going to fall flat. It's like not going to work. So, I sometimes surprise myself. I think the other thing as well is that I'm nervous before every walk.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't take anything for granted that it's going to go well. And I think because it's not scripted and everything is so fluid and depends on external things or something happening or the weather or whatever. And that or the group and the dynamics, I have no idea how it's going to go. Obviously, I want it to go well.
Yeah.
Or particularly like if mates are coming, you go, oh yeah, I want this one to be good or whatever. But it always surprises me that 15 years later, I still get nervous before every walk. Unless it's like maybe if it's a big group, particularly, but if it's maybe a family, I don't think about it, or a couple, it's a bit different. But so I'm doing that. Obviously, as you've said, engaging people, chatting, getting to know them, which for me, actually, I genuinely enjoy doing and getting little insights. And I feel very privileged. Obviously, the walks that you've come on are big groups. So it's not as easy, but I sometimes do private walks where I spend a whole day with people and you go for lunch and stuff. And you get I just meet people with different views, religions, come from countries I'd never heard of. And I go and look them up and go, oh, yeah, my geography's got better. And I feel like there are people that I've met who are the absolute polar opposite of me, and I've been shaking with anger at some of the stuff that's come out of their mouth.
Really?
Particularly because I do a lot around Westminster, which naturally invokes conversations about politics and stuff like that. A lot of Americans, Trump supporters.
How do you deal with that?
I don't engage in it. Unfortunately, my default is to become passive aggressive, but I'm not here to get into an argument with people. I'm here just to show you London, and generally on those situations, there's been no need to get into it, but they pushed it, and it's really fascinating that quite often those people are. It's not whatever they want. They've got a thing that they need to tell or say, or we've heard that there's a whole London's no-go because the Muslims or police won't go in. And so my general thing would be like, if you watch Fox News, that's probably that's what I'd say.
Yeah. It is a bit of a shame. You've never had to kick anyone off?
No.
At all? Well, that's good. That's pretty impressive. 500 tours a year, no one ever kicked off. That's pretty good going.
Yeah.
Well, no, it is genuinely really interesting. And I want to ask, there's one question we did have that we agree would be a good one. If you could bring back or see any part of London that no longer exists, what would it be?
It would be a massive swathe of London. So for your listeners who are unfamiliar, London began from a reasonably small area called Londinium, which is now the City of London, which people call the Square Mile, and that later became London. And it was a medieval walled gated city, so Aldgate, Bishopsgate. In fact, we just met at Moorgate, outside of which this was a moor, and all that stuff. And 14,000 homes, about 4/5 of it burnt down in the Great Fire in 1666. And I would love to go back and be able to experience that city before it burnt down. Admittedly, a lot of people were dying of the plague, but I think as I come from the future, I don't think Yersinia pestis would bother me too much anymore. I think I'd be all right. But I just to walk through those and London Bridge. A lot of people aren't aware that it was the longest inhabited bridge in the world. It was a monster bridge with 19 arches, full of shops and houses and building and a church, and it'd take an hour to get across it.
What's your view on the current London Bridge? I always find it a bit disappointing. All Americans seem to think that Tower Bridge is London Bridge.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Bridge.
Yeah, I mean, true. But to be honest, and the other thing as well is that I'm out and about because I know London reasonably well. If I see people who are lost or looking at maps, I will invariably go, "Are you okay? Do you need a hand?" They then will think I'm trying to rob them or something, which I can understand if you're abroad and you're like, "Oh no." But I have people who've come up, or they said, "Where's London Bridge?" And the first time this happened, we were standing on London Bridge, but you couldn't see Tower Bridge yet because we were just near the station.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, you're on it," and they got really annoyed. Thought I was being rude,
Yeah.
No, London Bridge, and I walked them like 20 yards and pointed at Tower Bridge. And do you mean that one? They went, "Yes, London Bridge." About 3 times now, I've just sent people there to Tower Bridge. I haven't even got into the conversation.
But to be fair, it's a beautiful bridge.
It is.
I do love Tower Bridge.
Yeah. But London Bridge, it's not. So famously, the one before it ended up in Arizona. A guy called Robert P. McCulloch bought it in the late 60s and shipped it over.
So can you see it still? Or not?
Yeah. He built it around a steel structure, but he created a man-made lake called Lake Havasu. around it. So it basically is there to turn it into a tourist attraction.
I think my favourite fact of your walks was St. Bride's. The fact that the modern wedding cake is based on the church there. And I looked at it and went, oh yeah, that is it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's their story and they're sticking to it. But that's what it is generally.
One.
Yeah. But there are loads of corkers. I think London is brilliant for that. It's just full of strange, odd things.
Well, it's not, I think part of its charm is the fact that it's not really the same anywhere. It's a complete mishmash of a load of different things. I said, we spoke about the, Alan Hertz came on my one before, and he said, it's one of the most constantly changing cities there is. Everything's just built on new things, and then you've got old bit here, then a really new building right here, and it's quite an interesting maze.
Yeah, and also meeting people from abroad who have seen it on like Paddington the movie or whatever, they're sometimes disappointed that it's not all old.
Yeah.
But actually, for me, it's a time machine. It is. You can. There are some bits, and I love doing it, particularly around Westminster. You can stand in one spot. You've got a 16th century school, 11th century church, that's sort of 13th, 14th century, a 16th century church, 19th century government building, 1920s on the other side, 2007. Like, it's literally 900 years of architecture, and you haven't moved. It's incredible.
I think that's probably why your account took off so much, is people were like, this is amazing. I didn't know any of this about London.
Yeah.
But look, we're doing a little, it's not quick fire, but we're going to play two little London games that we've spoken about. So the first one is a blind ranking. So you've got to blind rank these 7 London landmarks.
And what's my ranking criteria again?
Your favourite. And it's completely your own criteria.
Oh, right. Not a favourite for a tourist coming, or I think they should see it's my own favourite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on yours. So you're 1 to 7. I'll let you know what's left over as well. Okay, ready? First one. Trafalgar Square.
5.
5. Okay. Tower Bridge.
2.
Oh, okay, up there. I like that. Big Ben / Houses of Parliament. Put them together.
Good one. A lot of people don't realise it's one building. They always suppose. Number 1.
Number 1? Okay. Tower of London.
Oh, yeah. Sure, I messed up there. No.
You've got 3 open.
Okay. That'd be 4.
4, okay. St. Paul's Cathedral.
I have to be 5.
Oh, you've had 5. You've got 3, 6 or 7.
Oh, 6.
6, okay. The London Eye.
Oh no, so I can't move anything around
you
now.
Have 3 or 7?
And 7 then.
7, okay. And then in at number 3, we have Buckingham Palace.
Oh right, okay.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I fully got my head around that, but
yeah, I like that one. Houses of Parliament, very nice. I like that building. I think it's beautiful on the river.
Yeah,
Big Ben, of course. But and the final one. This is a winner stays on.
Okay.
So I briefly explain. So I'll give you 2 places to walk around, and you have to pick which one you prefer, and then we'll hopefully get to a winner.
All right.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, Hampstead Heath, Clerkenwell.
Ooh. Hampstead Heath.
Okay. Hampstead Heath or Shoreditch?
What time in Shoreditch?
Take them both at their peak.
Not 3 a.m.
Not 3
a.m. Hampstead Heath.
Hampstead Heath or Borough and Bankside?
Oh, now I've done it with it. I'm on a country walk in my head now. Oh no. And then Hampstead Heath.
Okay, I may have started too strong with Hampstead Heath.
Yeah.
Hampstead Heath or Fleet Street?
Hampstead Heath.
Hampstead Heath or the Fire of London area / bank?
I'd go with that.
Fire of London?
Like city.
Yeah.
City.
That's the walk I really want to do as well, so you'll be seeing me soon.
Okay.
Bank, Fire of London area or St. Paul's?
Inside or around?
Around.
I'll carry on with the previous one.
Bank, Fire of London. Bank, Fire of London or Westminster?
Bank, Fire of London.
Bank, Fire of London or Soho, Covent Garden, Piccadilly?
I might be tempted by that now.
Oh, okay. So Soho.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, Soho or Trafalgar Square?
Soho.
Soho, the winner.
Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that as well.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Look, I think we've pretty much got to end the time here. But no, it's been genuinely fascinating. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're very busy as well. So, yeah, thanks for coming across London for me today. A very hot day as well. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, hopefully see you on a walk soon.
Cool. Thanks, Ross.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonnie. I enjoyed that a lot.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
Was it okay for you?
It was. I didn't mention the book, but I'm fine with it.
Oh, no. Hold on.
Hang on.
We're not done.
What?
Johnny, we didn't mention the book. You have to tell me. The book is coming out. You've narrated it all.
Yeah.
Hit us with it.
Well, seeing as you mentioned about fun facts, I accidentally became a fun fact kind of guy. And the interesting thing is, I was talking about writing, and that was my thing. And then I thought, well, no, I got to concentrate on my walks. And then I started doing videos, and then publishers started contacting me about, have you ever thought about doing a book?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I have. But no one was interested because I was less popular. Yeah. Anyway, so I've got a fun fact book coming out, and it's published on Thursday, the 25th of September. And it's got a very snappy title, Why is Downing Street Painted Black? And 364 Other Fun London Facts.
Amazing. Why is Downing Street painted black?
You'd have to get the book right now.
You heard it here. Get the book. Lovely. Thanks,
Cool,
Johnny.
thanks.
So there we have it, Jonnie Fielding. I hope you enjoyed the episode. For next week, not next week, 2 weeks, every 2 weeks we do an episode. And it will be the first of a Ross examination. Now, if you remember back to when I changed it to Human Alchemy, I did say there would still be a few episodes called Ross Examinations where I take a deep dive into a topic around the sort of performance or change area, and I'll just do a quick deep dive, 20 to 30 minutes. So the first one of them will come out in 2 weeks, and it will be on the Pygmalion effect, which for me is one of the most powerful psychological principles to get the best out of an individual or a team. So hopefully you can tune in for that one as well. And if you've made it to this point, I always appreciate these people that get right to the end. So a big thank you once again, and look forward to seeing you soon. All the best.